Hello and welcome to the Duke Chronicle Sportswrap, the weekly sports show catching you up on all things Duke sports. My name is Jack Dolgen. Welcome back to another edition. I know last time we said it was rain-filled. This one, as I'm sure you know if you're from the Durham area, particularly rainy with a hurricane very close to Durham. We start off with the Duke football team getting the wrath of that weather as well as in the midst of a stingy defensive battle. It was the Blue Devils defense just a bit more stingy, coming on top 9-7 final with 1 touchdown in total, 0 for the Blue Devils. However, it was Ross Martin leading the way for the Blue Devils. The kicker would kick a 53-yard, 36-yard, and 38-yard field goal to put the Blue Devils on top in this one. Duke is now 4-1 overall with a 2-0 record in the ACC. Thomas Sirk pitched in with 18 for 36 passing for 195 yards. The Blue Devils will take on Army this coming Saturday at 12 noon in West Point. So Duke football barely comes out with the win, but they do. Men's soccer was also in action this week. They started off with a draw against Davidson, 2-2 on the road. They came back falling to Syracuse on Friday night at a really rainy Koskinen Stadium. Duke would fall 3-1 to the Orange. And Duke is now 4-4-2 overall with a 0-3-1 record in the ACC. The Blue Devils men's soccer team is not the only team looking for its first ACC victory. The women's soccer team is also without a victory. They only had one game this week, but it was a loss to the number 7 Virginia Tech Hokies by a final score of 4-2 in Durham. The number 22 women's Duke soccer team was down 4-0 before getting a goal by Casey Martinez in the 83rd minute and an own goal by the Hokies in the 85th. But again, the Blue Devils would fall short 4-2, although it did end a very weak offensive streak for the Blue Devils. Nevertheless, men's soccer and women's soccer are still looking for their first ACC victories of the year. The number 5 field hockey team has had a lot of success this year, and they continue to this week. First, they beat number 9 Louisville 2-0 on Friday. Again, a lot of rain, but it didn't stop the Blue Devil offense. And on Sunday, it was Duke with another shutout, this time over Longwood, by a final score of 7-0. So Duke is now 8-3 on their season. The Duke volleyball team first fell below the 500 watermark and then went right back to it with a loss on Friday night at UNC and a win on Sunday at NC State. First, on Friday night, the Blue Devils fell in straight sets to UNC in a game of really 2 halves, falling apart towards the end, losing 3-0 overall at Carmichael Arena. But on Sunday, the Blue Devils came back in a huge victory. They were up in the first set. They dropped the next 2. They won the 4th, and they barely won the 5th, but they would win that 5th set 15-12 off of 4 straight points. They are now 7-7 overall and 2-2 in the ACC with a huge test on Friday against Florida State at home. Florida State is the top-ranked ACC team currently. The swimming team also kicked off its season against Pitt. They would win in the men's 193-101, and they would win the women's 178-115. Peter Kropp was the big storyline in this one with an NCAA leading time in both breaststroke events. He's picking off right where he left off from the Nike event last year. And the cross-country team was also in action. It was the opening day for men's after getting lightninged out before, and the second race for the women's team. For the men, it was Sean Thompson getting the win. He did not race at all last year, but the graduate student would not be stopped this at the Princeton Invitational. So a big win for Sean Thompson. Men got 6th place overall. The women's team finished in 8th place. And then finally, the women's golf team finished off its first tournament of the year. The women's team playing at the Annika tournament, and they finished in the 4th place. They were doing better than that earlier in the week. However, by the end of the tournament, they would fall in their season opener, and they play on Friday in their second event of the year at the Tar Heel Invitational on Friday. So, in recap, football gets a big win. Men's soccer and women's soccer are still looking for their first ACC victories of the year. The volleyball team would split games in the Triangle area, both on the road. the number 5 field hockey team continues its roll of success. The swimming team gets a nice pair of victories to start off the season, one for men's, one for women's. The cross-country team gets a big performance by Sean Thompson in New Jersey, and the Duke golf team finishes in 4th place. That's your weekly wrap-up. Be sure to find us here, same place, same time next week. Until then.